This is part 2 of how to conjugate AR, ER, and IR verbs. So you just watched video number 1 for AR verbs, and now we're going to do our ER verbs. So you're going to follow the same steps here. When you want to conjugate an ER verb, what you do is you take your ER verb, such as comer, and you take off the ER. So if I want to say that I eat, you eat, we eat, whoever it is, you take off the ER and you have your stem, which is com, right? And then, depending on who you want to talk about, you add the following ending. These endings are for ER verbs. They're going to look kind of similar to AR verbs, except you'll notice a little difference in them. So for yo, it is oh, same thing, which is nice. For tu, if you want to say that you do something, it is es. For él, ella, usted, or it is e. Nosotros, nosotras, we, it is hemos. And then for ellos, ellas, ustedes, or any other plural subjects, it is en. So in comparing the two, they look pretty similar, except wherever you had an A for AR verbs, you now have an E for ER verbs. So they look very similar, just a little bit different. So we're going to now practice conjugating the verb comer and say I eat, you eat, we eat, they eat. Everybody eats. So we have written our stem here, and now we're going to add in our ending. So if I eat, it is yo como. If you eat, tú comes. If he, she, you formal, or it eats, come. If we eat, comemos. And if they eat or y'all eat, comen. Other verbs that we have that are ER verbs are correr, to run, leer, to read. I think that's about it. We have a couple others, but those are the ones that it fits. And then our very last set of types of verbs, AR verbs, ER verbs. Our last type are IR verbs. Now, IR verbs are pretty simple because they are almost exactly the same as ER verbs. There's just one difference, literally one difference. So if you have an IR verb such as escribir, and you want to say somebody writes, I write, you write, we write. Same deal, you're going to take off your IR, so escrib will be your stem. Now you're going to add your endings. Here are your endings. If it's yo, o. Across the board for the yo form, they're all O's, which is nice. Tu is es, so that's still the same as above. Él, ella, and usted, and it is e, also the same as above. Your nosotros form is where it's different, and it's the only difference in conjugation. This one is imos. So if you want to say we do something and it's an IR verb, it's going to be imos. So if it's an IR verb, it's got an I. If it's an ER verb, it's got an E. And then your last one for ellos, ellas, or ustedes, they are y'all, en. So comparing the two, they are exactly the same except for the nosotros form. Now let's take that and we're going to plug it into the verb escribir. So I have already pre-written my stem here. So if I want to say I write, yo escribo. You write, tú escribes. He, she, you formal, or it writes, escribe. We write, escribimos. And they write, escriben.